What are you doing on Tuesday the 26th of September 2023? Because myself and Francesca Amber are coming to the Barbican Hall in London. Our event is called One Night Stand, and this one night event is all going to be about manifestation, crystal healing, and ridding your limiting beliefs to help you achieve your goals. We've curated an immersive experience that will leave you feeling inspired and empowered. Throughout the evening as well, we'll also have interactive exercises, we'll have empowering discussions, and the opportunity to connect with like-minded individuals on a similar journey towards personal growth and manifestation. There'll even be an opportunity for you to ask questions as well. This event is your chance to break free from the shackles of self-doubt and unleash your inner greatness. It's time to release those limiting beliefs that might be holding you back and step into your true potential. And if you want to come on your own, by all means do that. Single tickets are available and seating is totally unreserved, so you can even meet up with your spiritual friends and sit with them as well. Head to @CannyCrystals on Instagram and click the link in my bio. Tickets are limited, so secure your spot and be part of this transformative experience. Don't miss out on the chance to manifest your dreams and achieve your goals. We can't wait to see you there. Hello everyone, and thanks for joining me on another episode of Canny Crystals, the podcast. I hope that you're all okay. We've finally got a bit of sunshine here in the UK, haven't we? It's just been absolutely amazing this last week. My shoulders are red raw, I look like a lobster. Yeah, it's amazing, but I'm just loving being able to sit in the garden and do some work out there and sit with all my crystals and just even have the friggin' doors open onto the patio. You know, there's nothing worse, is there, when it's summertime and it's muggy, but you can't open the doors because it's raining and it's windy. But yeah, the sun is finally here and I'm so bloody happy. So I've got a few things to talk about today. But I wanted to start with something that I've said I was going to talk about for the last couple of weeks now, and that is grounding and earthing, okay? So it's something that I've touched on previous episodes, but we've never really gone into, any detail of, what it is, for example. So just for those of you that don't really know anything about it, grounding, some people also call it, earthing. It's a technique that basically involves doing activities that ground or electronically reconnect you to the earth, if that makes sense. So it's under research, but I think it was Francesca Amber, when I was round her house, she basically started talking about it and things, and she told me to watch something called the Grounding Movie on YouTube. She told me it was on Netflix at first, and I spent a good hour or two searching friggin' Netflix, going backwards and forwards before I friggin' messaged her, and she was like, oh no, it's on YouTube. But anyway, thanks, Fran. I found this Grounding Movie, and I watched it, and I was I gobsmacked at some of the results that these people were getting. So, for example, it's all about this girl who was really, really quite ill, and she was really poorly. And just from walking on grass every single day, on bare feet, for example, she was able to reduce the inflammation in her body. And I know this sounds crazy, but all illness stems from inflammation, like cancer, Alzheimer's, dementia, any kind of stroke. It all starts with a culmination of inflammation of red blood cells. I'm feeling very scientific here. But I'm sure that's what it is. Don't quote me on that because I could be wrong. Could be the white blood cells. But anyway, it's something to do with blood cells. And inflammation is due to those blood cells clotting, basically. So when you stand on earth, if you go to the beach, for example, and you take your socks and your shoes off and you're walking along the beach, you come home that afternoon and you feel revitalized and refreshed, and more times than not you'd fall asleep in the car home, and it's because your body is so re-energized, and it's just that that nice relaxing feeling. And I've always just thought it was the sea air, and I've always heard people say, oh, it's the sea air, it knocks you out and stuff, but I'm actually starting to think there's more to it than that, and it's more to do with the grounding. So anyway, every single night what we do is we go to bed, and just like anyone else in the world, and when we go to bed we are not connected to the earth. We are connected in a very roundabout way, but if you got one of those electricity voltage meters and you looked at your electricity volt, I don't know what's called, your electricity volt count or something like that, and you lie on your bed, it would be quite high. However, if you were somehow to electronically ground yourself while you were in bed overnight, that volt count comes right the way down because the electricity is able to pour back into the earth, basically, and the earth's able to replenish your electrons and just reduce all that inflammation that I was talking about earlier. So there are things called grounding sheets, and I'd never heard of these either. But again, Francesca Amber came through. I saw on her story that she'd bought one. I messaged her and I said, where did you get this from? She was like, Amazon. And I was like, okay, I'm going to have a look into this. So I started watching, and I really went down a YouTube hole here of grounding sheets and the benefits of them. We spend a third of our lives in our beds, and we like 8 hours a day at the end of the day. There's 24 hours in a day. So that's a third of our lives that we spend in bed. And I just thought this is the perfect opportunity for you to actually ground. And sometimes I can go to bed and I'll have an 8-hour sleep and I feel groggy as hell when I wake up. So I thought, do you know what? These sheets, they're $39.99. They weren't like as expensive as I thought they were going to be. There are some that are like hundreds. I don't understand why some are hundreds and some are not. But anyway, got this one for $39.99, plugged it in. So the thing is, it's got like a coil all the way through the sheets. So it's supposed to like conduct electricity, but you don't actually switch it on, if that makes sense. You still plug it in the wall because the wall socket is grounded. So it's still going from the earth onto your sheets and through your skin, basically. And it is scientifically proven to reduce the electrons and reduce the inflammation in your body and stuff. And there have been numerous and countless papers on this published in the USA for the last 4 years, and not one single person has listened to them. And these are done by professionals, like actual scientists. And when you think about it, we've had a hell of a lot more disease and things in the world over the last 100 years, for example. And cancer is at a rate now where I think it's like 1 in 3 people would actually get cancer at some point in their life. And I'm starting to think, is this all connected? And is it because we're all wearing rubber sole trainers and, you know, like footwear that just doesn't conduct electricity? And I know I'm getting a little bit off topic because I'm getting on my high horse and stuff. But since I've been using these sheets, and I have only had them a couple of weeks, right? And when I was reading research online, they were saying it can take a couple of weeks to reap the benefits, but some people feel it overnight and stuff like that. I started using these on the Monday night, okay? And I read some reports that sometimes it can make you ill. The reason that it makes you ill is it's like having a face mask. If you put a face mask on, the first thing that happens is you usually get a breakout of spots because it's all of the crap coming to the surface of your skin, trying to break free, coming through your pores, and you tend to get a little bit of like spots and like acne and things like that before it starts soothing down. And that's kind of what this does. So it gets rid of all the crap out of your body, gets rid of all the inflammation, and your body sometimes does go into shock. So they said there might be a few like sickness episodes just while you settle into the grounding sheets and stuff like that. And I thought, hey ho, we'll give it a shot. Let's see what happens. No word of a lie. I recorded, it was last week's episode, wasn't it? I recorded last week's episode on the Monday with Jazz, and I did that over Zoom because she's in Australia. By the Wednesday, I couldn't talk. And it's just as well I recorded that episode on the Monday because I started using the sheets on the Monday night, and by the Wednesday, I couldn't talk. I had 2 lumps, one at either side of my throat. When I looked at my throat in the mirror, like I had like white at the back of my throat, and it was hurting to swallow. And at first I thought, oh my God, here we go, COVID round 2. I've come down with something. Anyway, had loads of water. It really, really felt like I was drinking bloody a bottle of Razor Blades, drinking this water. Anyway, I went to bed that night and I thought I'd been asleep all night. You know, when you feel like you've had a really, really rested sleep. And I woke up and it was still pitch black. And when I looked at my clock, it was 1 o'clock in the morning. I'd been asleep like 2 hours. But I felt like I'd been asleep all night. And I was like, oh, I wonder if this is off the grounding sheets and stuff like that. And then suddenly it hit me. I was dripping with sweat. I was shivering. It was like still 20 degrees or something outside. Anyway, cut long story short, I was fucking ill. The next day I got up, I was packing orders, and I was like, I really can't be packing any more orders. There's something not right here. I looked in the mirror, obviously saw that my tonsils and everything were white, and I thought, oh my God, I've got tonsillitis. Did a COVID test. COVID test was all negative. I waited another couple hours, did another COVID test because I don't really trust them, but it still said negative. I was sat on the hottest day of the year last week. I think it was like 27, 28 degrees here in Newcastle. And I was sat on the couch, wrapped in a duvet, fully clothed, joggers on, socks on, like thermal socks, shivering and dripping with sweat. That's how my week went. But like I say, it's just as well I recorded that podcast on the Monday because I literally couldn't talk. And it wasn't until the Friday when I started eating solid foods again and I just felt really, really weak. I was still trying to do me TikTok and stuff like that, but because I hadn't planned any TikTok ahead for the week, I really couldn't record anything new because it was all going to need me voice and stuff like that. And it was just an absolute nightmare. So my TikTok content, I do apologize, last week was absolute dog shite. And because of that, my Instagram content and everything was dog shite last week as well. But yeah, I was absolutely fucking ill. And it wasn't until the weekend when I suddenly clicked and thought, oh my God, what if this is the grounding sheets? And then again, I looked into it, and this is quite common. It's quite common for things to inflame on the first few days of using it because your body is trying to react to the electrons that are passing through from the ground. So I think it was Sunday, I went out for a dog walk and I just went to the little park next to where I live and I took my socks and shoes off and my partner did exactly the same. And we just like plodded around on the grass and it felt like it almost took us back to a time when I was a child running around in my mum's like garden or something. It feels so unnatural to be barefoot in public. I think it's just because like if we walking around the house, we know fine well if we stub a toe, if we stand on a plug, if we, I don't know, stand on a bit of like a stone or something in the garden, it friggin' hurts. The soles of your feet are so sensitive. And I think because I was walking around in this park barefoot, I was just waiting for something to happen. And I kept seeing little bees and wasps flying around on the grass. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to stand on one. I'm going to get stung. And anyway, we went out of the park and I thought, I'm going to walk up this little path on the way home. Guess what happened? I stood on some broken glass and it went into my foot. So yeah, I really wasn't very well. I now had glass in my foot. So yeah, if you want to try earthing, go ahead. But in all honesty, I feel like the benefits are now starting to creep in. My illness has gone away clearly. My voice has gone back to normal. My throat has gone back to normal. The glass came out of my foot the same day, so don't worry about that. And I do actually feel energized from going to bed. And I know you're probably thinking, Mart, come on, we all go to bed to get energized. But I mean, like, this is a different level of energized. I don't know if it's to do with the sun. It could just be anything, but I don't believe in coincidences. It could be the sun, it could be the early mornings. But I'm waking up when my alarm goes off at the minute at like 6, half 6-ish, depending on what day it is. And I'm actually getting straight up out of bed. And instead of like sitting around, like, I don't know, like scrolling my phone or acting groggy and getting in the shower, feeling a bit like, I'm actually getting straight up and coming straight downstairs, going into the garden, doing my morning routine, doing my gratitude list, having a shower and things. And I'm actually feeling like absolutely amazing. And I'm not getting a mid-afternoon slump, I've noticed as well. So I write a diary every single day, as you probably know if you listen to past episodes. And I just write things that I've been grateful for that day. And I think there was one day, even a month ago, I'd wrote thanks for coffee. I don't usually drink coffee, but it gave me such a boost one day when I was feeling really slumped. And then it suddenly hit me. I haven't felt that mid-afternoon slump. You know, when it gets to about 2 or 3 o'clock, you've had your dinner, your sugar levels have spiked, they're starting to drop again. It hits like 2 or 3 o'clock and you're still working. And you think, oh, I've got a couple of more hours. I could just do with a nap. I haven't actually felt that this week. So I don't know if that's to do with the grounding. And also, I don't know if this has anything to do with it, but I also had a swelling on my leg that has totally gone down. It's been there for about a month now since I hit my knee. And it's totally gone. And I don't know if it's because of the grounding sheets, because of the inflammation. Who knows? But as well as that, I know that I have a skin condition called psoriasis. It's a bit like eczema, for those of you that don't know. It's a bit like scaly skin. But it's caused from the inflammation of cells. And I thought, maybe this grounding will take away my psoriasis and stuff like that. Guess what? I have no more psoriasis on my eyelids. They were always on my eyelids on the top. I treat them like every single day. So if you ever looked at videos, you might have seen like a tiny little red patch. I've also got one in my hairline as well. It's nowhere near as bad as it used to be when I was a child, but I still know it's there. And sometimes every now and again, if it's really red on my forehead, someone will be like, "Oh, have you banged your head?" And I'm like, "No, it's psoriasis, you dick. Thank you." But yeah, my psoriasis is actually clearing up. Do you think that this is all to do with grounding? I feel like I'm having an epiphany here. I feel like it's all... my whole life has been a lie, and everything is being cured by just walking on the ground and just being connected to the ground. But as we know, grounding doesn't just happen just by walking around, and I've looked at some studies this week, and they've examined the role of grounding on like muscle damage, for example. And researchers have used like grounding patches and mats, and they've measured like creatine and white blood cell counts and pain levels before and after grounding. And the blood work has indicated that grounding has actually reduced muscle damage and pain in like gymnasts and stuff like that. Do you not think that that is crazy? So there's a few different ways that you can ground. So obviously there's the ways that I've mentioned. You can walk barefoot. It's like, have you been outside on a warm summer's day and you've just felt the urge to run barefoot in the grass? Because that is the easiest way to ground yourself, and it's just to walk barefoot. Like I say, it doesn't even have to be on the grass. It could be at the beach. The beach is probably one of the better options because you're walking in the sand. Or you could even like, I don't know, do like a Tough Mudder exercise or something like that where you're basically barefoot. I don't know. As long as your skin is touching the natural ground, the ground is providing you with energy. One of the other ways, and something that I've been doing as well, because when I've been going to the park lately with my dog, it's been quite hot. So we've been chucking the ball a few times and then just lying down in the shade. So that's another way that you can like recharge your batteries. You can just lie on the ground. You can increase your skin to earth contact just by lying down on the ground. So as long as you've got a t-shirt or shorts on or something like that where your bare skin is actually touching the ground. So I do this at the park most days, like I say, with the dog. But if you're going to ground yourself, just make sure, like, take proper precautions just in case you lie down on broken glass. Like, I've bloody stood on some, but you get the drift. Another way that you can do this is submersing yourself in water. So water can be used to ground in exactly the same way as the physical earth could be used for grounding. So one of my friends, for example, she goes to the Lake District pretty much every other weekend, which is like up north. It's around here somewhere, for those of you that aren't from around here. And there's a few different lakes. You can go swimming in them. You can go boating in them. Do you know what I mean? There's like loads of hotels and B&Bs and stuff around there. And she goes every other weekend. And she was saying about how energized she's felt since going to the lakes and going out for walks and just going for a swim, like an open water swim in these lakes all the time. And the researchers basically said that just like wading even in a clear lake or swimming in the ocean as a way to ground yourself is such a great way of grounding yourself. So, as I said, I use a grounding mat. You can buy grounding sheets, blankets. You can even buy grounding socks. You can buy grounding patches. There's lots of different ways and lots of alternative methods that you can use. So yeah, if you think that grounding could be for you, have a watch of the Grounding movie. I'm sure it's called the Grounding movie. Hang on, just while I'm recording this, it might be called the Earthing movie. The Grounding movie. Let me just double check on Google. Good old Google. It's not. It's called the Earthing movie. Okay, is it? Yes, it's called the Earthing movie. The Remarkable Science of Grounding. That's what it's called. You can watch it on YouTube. If you just type in the Earthing movie on Google, you can type the Grounding movie. I mean, it's come up when I've typed the Grounding movie, but it's called the Earthing movie. It's only 1 hour, 15 minutes. It's not exactly going to, like, eat into your time. I'm sure you've watched longer episodes of Stranger Things. But yeah, give it a watch. Have a go yourself. See what health benefits it brings to you. Let me know as well. Drop me a DM because I am dying to hear some of your grounding and earthing stories. I know when I mentioned this a couple of weeks ago, people were messaging me in their droves straight away saying, I've been earthing for years. One of the best things that I can do. I've been grounding for years. And I was like, why have I only just heard of this? So, for example, with crystals, some crystals, their properties explain them as quite grounding crystals. And I've just always thought it meant it kept you grounded. But it actually means it grounds you, like energetically. So, for example, crystals like tourmaline, black obsidian, they are quite naturally grounding and protecting. So, they are grounding crystals. So, that's just another way that you can ground yourself. And one thing that came out about this and about me being ill was that I really, really started to struggle. Not just struggle because I was ill, but struggle because I had no energy. And I was still trying to pack all of your beautiful orders, still trying to get them out on time, still trying to answer over 100 DMs and 100 emails and all these TikTok messages and everything day in, day out. And it started to get to me at one point. And I thought to myself, I need to do something. So, starting from, I think it's like in a week or two's time, I've got a social media manager to help me out with stuff. And this is going to be such a load off my mind because, as you know, if you delegate, you find it a hell of a lot easier to then concentrate on the tasks that you're going to enjoy and you're going to get more fulfillment out of. And it's not that I'm saying that I fell out of love with social media or anything like that. I do enjoy getting back to people and stuff like that and like conversing with people on Instagram. The thing that drains me the most is the content creation. So every Sunday, for those of you that don't know, I don't pack any orders on a Sunday purely because the mail doesn't go out till the Monday anyway. So I do them all like either the Sunday night or the Monday morning. So Sunday is my kind of admin day. So what I do is I plan for the week ahead and I sit down on a Monday morning and I think about what content I'm going to post Monday to Sunday the following week. And I'll put down that I need something product-wise. So if you look at my Instagram, there is always a product of the day explaining what that product is and what it does. Then the second post of the day will be a TikTok video, which I'll put on Instagram as well as a reel, and that'll be a card of the day. Then I'll also try and fit in a funny video. I'll also try and share some stories. I'll also even maybe like share some feedback from customers and you know what I mean? I just basically put down in a spreadsheet what I'm going to post day in, day out. But each day I'm posting maybe 6 or 7 bits of content across all platforms every single day. So every Sunday, I've got to then come up with 42 to 49 bits of content. That alone takes maybe 2 or 3 hours of my time. And then I've got to physically go through and record them and take the photos. And all in all, it takes about 8 or 9 hours the entire day. And that is what's draining me. It's not the fact that people are messaging and stuff like that. I can get back to messages really, really quickly. But that drains me on a Sunday. So I thought if I could outsource that and I could delegate that to someone else who knows what they're doing. And just in conversation, basically, I was speaking to my life coach, Jude, and she mentioned how her social media manager just comes to her like once a week or something and says, I need you to record this, say this on camera, we'll do the rest. They look up all the hashtags. They look at the best time to post. Do you know what I mean? I don't have to do anything apart from record the content. And that is half the battle for me. It still means that I'll be responding to the comments myself. It still means that I'll be messaging people back myself. It is all still me. It's just when it comes to the content, they're going to post on my behalf, which is such a weight off my shoulders you would not believe. So yeah, I feel like although I was ill because of the grounding, it's literally like the universe has done that on purpose to say to me, what if you are genuinely ill in the future and you can't fulfill your orders and you can't fulfill your TikTok, like your promises to people with social media and Instagram and Facebook. And just by putting this into place and looking into it, it's not as expensive as I thought it was going to be. And I think I've really had my eyes opened these last couple of weeks just talking to her about it. Because I've been struggling along for so long, just me. And I'm working probably 14-hour days. And 14-hour days, 7 days a week. What's that? 98 hours a week on average I'm putting into this business. And I'm still trying to go to the gym every day, walk my dog, have a social life. I haven't seen my friends for bloody weeks. I haven't had a date night with my partner for months. Do you know what I mean? It's absolutely unheard of for me to like have some time off. But it got me then thinking, what other parts of my life can I delegate? And I know I've spoke about this before, but as I record this, it's the full moon today, okay? And I'm going to release all of the things that no longer serve me, just as I hope you all are as well. And by doing this, I'm going to release all of the want and the need to control everything myself and hand that over to the universe. And in response, I'm going to get some help and some support back, because I know fine well when I release this and I create a void, the universe will fill it with what I'm trying to manifest. And if I'm trying to grow my business, that's the best way possible for me to be able to get some help and some support, because I can't physically do this all myself. And it's really, like I say, it's really opened my eyes the last couple of weeks especially. So just before I wrap up things with this episode, I want you to really think about it. Some point today, just take a pen and some paper and write down 3 areas of your life that you could delegate to someone else. Now, you don't even have to have your own business. This could just be delegation by the way of, I don't know, handing off your child to someone else to look after for the night, just so that you can get your own shit done, or just so that you can go and have a date night with your partner. Just something really, really small. It doesn't have to cost you any money, but just by delegating, you're then opening up the possibility for the universe to deliver you something even better. And like I said, just by me handing over and delegating that social media, that's opened up a lot more free time for me. And that free time, I'm going to then be able to put into new products, new workshops, new journals. It's going to basically enable me to be able to look into other things that otherwise I wouldn't have had the time to do. So like I said, just when you get 5 minutes, just write down 3 areas of your life that you could delegate at least one task to, just to get it out of your hair, to get it off your list. And then give it a few days and just reassess how you feel. Has it made you feel any better? If it has, amazing, you're on a winning streak. If it hasn't, you can always take it back. Delegation isn't forever. I'm going to trial this girl, this social media girl, and if I don't like it and I don't like passing that control, I'll bring it back and I'll delegate another bit of my business, like orders, or I don't know, like responding to messages or something like that. But for the time being, I'm going to trial this for a few months at least, just to see how things go. And if I like it and it's helping me as a business, then I'm going to keep it. Why not? I'm going to have to wrap up this episode because I've just realised how long it's actually up to already. Whoops. But yeah, do a bit of delegation, do a bit of grounding. It's been a bit of a jumbled episode, hasn't it? Also, what I wanted to mention is my subliminals on my website. So cannycrystals.co.uk. I have had so many good reviews on my subliminals. And if you go on the website, on the product page of the Subliminal Affirmation downloads, and you just scroll just underneath the add to cart button and underneath the description, there is customer reviews. And if you just read some of the reviews, if you're on Instagram, you've been following me on Instagram, looking at my stories this week, you'll have seen some of them. Some of them are absolutely amazing. Like I had one the other day saying, I ordered the Attract and Wealth one as well as the Boost Your Luck one a couple of weeks ago now. I've had them on every night in bed. I've won money on the lottery. I've had an overpayment check sent to me. I've had a bank error payment. I've had family give me money. And then to top it all off, I got the job to an interview. Sorry, I got invited to a job interview on Friday. And I've just found out this morning that I got the job. Honestly, I'm in shock. I feel like you're a wizard. Thanks so much, Mart. The reviews are absolutely amazing, and I'm still gobsmacked every time I receive one. So thank you all so much for leaving a review on those products. And if you do want to check out those subliminals for yourself, like I say, head to cannycrystals.co.uk, type the word subliminal in the search bar. If you use the code podcast, you can still get 10% off everything. I'm keeping that discount code for you, special lot, forever. And yeah, use the code podcast, you get 10% off. They're only £3, so it would knock it down to £2.70. I just wanted to make sure that it was accessible to everyone and that £2.70 isn't going to break the bank. Do you know what I mean? On next week's episode, I'm going to be talking all about why we stop manifesting when we get what we want instead of carrying on. And this is something that I've done recently. So I've recently hit a massive milestone, which I'll talk about in next week's episode. And then I've noticed that I haven't been doing my self-care for like the last month. I haven't been listening to my affirmations. I haven't been meditating with my crystals. And it's because I've reached that milestone and that goal of what I wanted. And instead of just carrying on going, I've stopped. Anyway, we'll talk about this in more details next week. And I'm getting so many questions about Moldavite, so I'm going to do a big discussion on Moldavite, what it is, how you can use it to live your best life, okay? So, if you're not following me already, follow me on Instagram and TikTok. It's at Canny Crystals, or you can follow my personal on Instagram, which is at Mark Tweedy. It's pretty boring. I don't ever update it. And now and again put a funny meme on the stories, but other than that, I don't really use it. But yeah, leave me a review if you don't mind, wherever you're listening to this, on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or Google Podcasts or Audible. It takes 10 seconds for you to do so, but it really, really does help this podcast grow to new audiences. And I don't get paid for podcasting, so this would really, really help me out. So thank you so much for listening. And yeah, I hope that you join me again next week for another episode of Canny Crystals, the podcast. Enjoy the rest of this sunshine. Let's hope that it lasts a good while yet. And I'll speak to you all next Friday. Bye, guys. Come and join me in the Manifest with Mart community. For just £10 a month, you'll get exclusive access to my app, and you'll join all the other beautiful souls in the Canny community, where each day you'll be held accountable to making your dreams and desires come to fruition. You'll also be set daily and weekly challenges. There's a chat room built in so you can talk to people in real time, and you can also pop over any questions that you have in the Q&A forum, and I'll answer them for you. It's changing people's lives, and we've already had so many people manifesting things in the first 2 weeks alone. Each new moon, I'll also be going live within the group on a face-to-face video to help you get the most out of the lunar cycles, as well as answer any burning questions that you have. And these live meetups are so powerful, and everyone in the group has had nothing but praise for the safe space that we share. There are very limited spaces for this community, however, just to ensure that I can place my focus on you and nurture you into the ultimate manifester. So if you'd like a spot, please be quick and reserve your seat now. Head to cannycrystalsacademy.co.uk and choose the Manifest with Mart option, where you can get instant access, and what's more, you'll also get access to all of the past recordings and chats too. Join now and start living the life of your dreams.